everybody, it's Dr. Steve Fleischer of Everybody's Chiropractic and Wellness here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. And today we're going to be talking about the discs. We're going to be telling you what the anatomy of the disc is, how it breaks down, and a couple of myths about the disc. So, the disc serves two main purposes to the spine. The first one is it provides a fulcrum for motion so that the bones can move the way they're supposed to. The next thing that the disc does is it acts as a shock absorber for the disc for when we're walking, running, doing activities. It helps to protect the bones as a smooth cushion. The disc is knitted to the bones themselves. So that whole thing of a slip disc just isn't true. The disc just doesn't go and fly out of there. It's knitted to the bone above and to the bone below, so it can't slide out. I'll talk more about that in a couple minutes. If you were to look at a disc from the top, it looks like an onion sliced in half where you've got all these concentric rings. And in the center we have what's called the nucleus. The nucleus is a gelatinous mass, not unlike the jelly in the center of a jelly donut. And when the bones are moving properly, everything is functioning the way it's supposed to. However, due to slips, falls, car accidents, playing sports, or everyday life, the vertebrae of the spine will go out of alignment, and what will happen is it'll lose some of the motion. Now that's important because since the disc is 90% water, it relies on the normal motion of the spine to create a pumping effect. It pumps the old fluid out and draws the new fluid in. When we have the normal motion in the spine, this is at 100% efficiency and the disc stays healthy. Unfortunately, when we get subluxations and the bones go out of alignment, we lose this 100% efficiency of the pumping action, and the disc begins to dehydrate. It doesn't get all the fluid it needs, and it starts to break down. So what happens then is, if you were to, let's go back to the onion. If you were to take that half of the onion that you may have put in the refrigerator and you come back and look at it a week later, you'll see that the rings have started to separate. It doesn't look as shiny and juicy as it used to, and the rings look a lot weaker. Well, that's the same thing that happens to the rings of the disc. They begin to break down and they become brittle. And what happens is that as they begin to break, the nucleus in the center starts to push out against the weaker part of the rings. This is known as phase 1 degeneration in the spine. If this doesn't get corrected, what happens then is we move into phase 2 degeneration, to where the discs begin to push out against the outermost rings and it causes a bulging. If this doesn't get corrected, the degeneration continues on. The nucleus breaks out against the outermost ring, that's herniated disc. That's in phase 3 of degeneration. And all these things take many, many years to occur. If this doesn't get corrected, we move into a phase 4. And a phase 4, I can't correct anymore. It's fusion. It's permanent damage. It's a very poor quality of life. It's talking to a surgeon, it's drugs, all the things that you don't want. So we always want to make sure that we can keep your spine healthy. And the way we do that is by making sure that the bones move properly on the disc. So if you get subluxations in the spine, the misalignments, it's important to go to your chiropractor to get them corrected so that we can restore as much of that pumping action as possible. The thing with the discs, though, is that in some cases we can slow down the process, in other cases we can stop the process, and in certain cases, if we catch it early, we can even reverse the process of the damage to the discs. So if you're wondering how your discs are doing, give us a call at 610-337-3700 so we can do an examination and determine how well your discs are. Until next time, Dr. Steve Fleischer of Everybody's Chiropractic and Wellness.